Any words of wisdom before we go?
Keep the fuel tank full. Don't forget video chat.
Bye. Gabriel said he'll miss the four-wheeler. and a little bit of Papa. Bye, darling. I love you. I love you.
Fan of the stations that shut you off after a certain amount. I would love to just be able to fill this thing up. It's 90 gallons. I was able to put like 45 in, so half a tank is all I was able to fill up. I'll just have to put more in later on. Look at that light. Okay. We just finished doing our first YouTube live, which was really fun and interesting. And after that, we had two people that was in the same town that we are in. One of them just happened to be in the parking lot watching us live, and the other one was just a few minutes away and drove here to introduce themselves. I want to let you guys know, thank you so much for coming by and introducing yourselves. Lane and I love that part of this life, is meeting you guys. So thank you for doing that. So now, Lane finished up at Aldi's. We are south of Kansas City. We're getting ready to get out of Aldi country, so right now is the time for us to make sure we get our Aldi's fix taken care of, because it's going to be a while before we have another Aldi's. We just got off the phone with my mom and dad, and he's still in the buy mode.
Say bye. Oh, he's a sweet baby.
So Lane's getting the kids all taken care of with some food. They've got a movie going. And we're gonna get back on the road and try and make it as far as we can into Kansas. Stay overnight probably in a Walmart parking lot, and then continue on west into Colorado. So I came outside really briefly. I got the RV running, so it may be a little bit loud. I wanted to come out and tell you, I couldn't even feel this thing. Didn't even know it was back here. It ran really, really well. The RV did as far as towing goes. Of course, it's diesel, it's what's expected. It's why we chose the diesel whenever we chose a Class A. Is because I knew it was not going to have a problem towing this thing. I will say the only thing that I noticed that might be an issue. So my diesel exhaust is really close to my Roadmaster Tow Defender, and they said in there that if you get it too close, it could cause damage to it. But I've got it in the highest setting possible away from the diesel exhaust, and it's still melting it. So it is what it is. Hopefully it won't melt it anymore or melt it through. Have I mentioned yet how much Lane and I love the Class A? Oh my goodness. Driving in it is amazing. A little dark, y'all set?
Let's do it. I got pickles. I got cheese. I got pickles and cheese and salami. Ooh, ooh.
Well, good morning. We got into a Walmart parking lot in Kansas last night. Now, when we get to Walmart, we're typically pretty late getting in. Last night, I think it was after midnight. But this morning, you can guarantee we are going to be the last ones to leave. Mommy just is making breakfast for us while we're in here, having coffee. I think Starbucks is probably going to go out of business because we're just going to have coffee from in here.
And we gave them a lot of business last year.
On travel days we did. Kiddos are eating some biscuits. Actually, they're not just biscuits. They're biscuits with some meat, cheese, and jelly. Don't smile! Don't smile! Got her! Is that the freezer door? Yeah, freezer door. Freezer door just came open. It's like as soon as we got into Colorado, the roads are horrible. And we have been rattling this motorhome. It feels like to pieces. So Mommy had to go fix the freezer door.
Gabriel's asleep.
So we just wanted to share with you guys a little bit of what our experience has been so far in driving the Class A.
First of all,
Colorado roads.
are crazy. Look at all this space. This
Yeah.
is my whole arm.
We can touch, but just barely.
Yeah. But I mean, I like you, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Honestly, just so much more space for our personal well-being. And the kids are loving it. They've colored, and we let them have iPads. That's not a daily thing normally, so it's extra special for them to have on travel days. And they get to snack all day, and they get to get up and pee when they want. And we had pillows and blankets out last night. They were really cozy, and they fell asleep. And we made our own coffee. Like, we stopped for gas. It takes us 5 minutes to boil our water for coffee.
We haven't stopped once for food or bathroom breaks on this trip.
Or coffee,
Or coffee.
which we used to, I mean, that was priority.
So we are definitely getting down the road faster in the Class A. Now, one thing that's an experience for us, especially now that we've gotten to Colorado and the roads are horrible, is all of the rattling that we never heard before. Being in here when you hear like your coffee cups and pots and pans and just different things that are just rattling.
It's different. But, like, just now, the freezer door came flying open, and that could have been way horrible of a mess, and we didn't even know that it happened.
And that's something I've got to fix is because we have a residential fridge now, it doesn't stay shut very well, especially on curves or whenever you're hitting some bounces and stuff. It can, just the weight of what's in there can make the door come open. And when Mommy needs to take care of things, Mommy can get up and go take care of things.
I promise
And
I'm
she's-
not sitting down ever in my baby.
And she can buckle up, like right now.
See what I'm doing?
Yeah,
I'm buckling up because you told me to.
just teasing. One other thing I thought of was the miles per gallon that this thing's getting. It's not as great. Well, it's not expected to be great. What the owner told me was I was going to get about 8. I've been getting about 7-ish, high 6s to 7-ish miles per gallon. So far, I've put about $400 worth of fuel in here, and we still got 3 hours of driving left, which we'll get there on this tank, I do believe. Because of this long distance we're trying to take all in one whack, you will burn up more fuel, or you will spend more money on fuel whenever you're trying to do that. But typically, when we get somewhere, stay for a while. That way it's not a big of an expense in fuel for us. We'll stay somewhere for a while, use the Jeep the majority of the time, which gets about 18, 19 miles per gallon. So it'll offset some of that when we get to our location.
Oh, another favorite thing about this is I never looked out the truck window. One, because I have babies all up in my business. But two, just because you're in a truck. This feels like you're in a fishbowl. Like, the windows are so big that I feel like I'm seeing more of our travels. I'm seeing more because you can't help but to look out the window. It's like a picture. It's very pretty.
Now I know why when you see Class A's, they always point the front towards your prettiest view. And it's because of that, because these windows are so huge.
Yeah, it's something you don't even know or think about until you're sitting right here. But it really it's a deal.
Yeah.
It's a good deal.
Something else we've done that I wasn't expecting was that we've been running the generator while we've been driving because it's been warm. It's been between 80s and 90s on our journey. And so I'll turn the generator on. That way we can have the air conditioner on, because when you turn your front AC, it's really just kind of cooling off me and Lane, but the kids are kind of getting hot back there. So we will turn the generator on, turn the house AC on, and cool it down in the back where they're sitting. Something I didn't think of until actually somebody else had mentioned it to us. That's been kind of nice to be able to do that. Okay, so we are about to head into the mountains for the first time with this rig. I'm excited to see how it's going to be doing. The exhaust brake on this thing, I've already tested it out a little bit. It does really, really well, way better than what my truck did. So I'm excited to see how it's going to respond with the Jeep. But we'll see once we get into the mountains how this thing performs climbing the mountains and going down the mountains, and we'll let you guys know. Traffic's getting insane. This thing takes up a lot of space. Just to kind of show you Denver traffic at the moment. So we made it through Denver with all that crazy traffic. Gabriel had a poopy diaper. Oh, what that? Before we started climbing up into the mountains, I noticed that my engine was a little warm. Plus with all the stop and go, figured my brakes might be a little bit hot. So I thought, let's pull over, let the engine cool off, let the brakes cool off before we make the trek up into the mountains, because there is a lot of up and down once we get in there. I don't know what to expect in the Class A, so I want to be safe, and we're just gonna take it nice and slow. I'm gonna put it in a low gear and just slowly go up the mountain in the right lane. Right now is the perfect time to make us all a little dinner, because it is almost 6 o'clock. Actually, since we're in Mountain Standard Time, it feels like it's 7 o'clock our time. So we're hungry.
It's like dinner time.
Is those peaches?
Nectarines and sandwiches for the kids, and we're gonna have yummy bacon and spinach wraps.
That sounds good. Don't that look good? Looks delicious. Okay, we are headed up into the pass on the other side of Denver. So I have a stationary in third gear, trying to keep my RPMs between 2,000 and 2,500, and I'm just doing about 35. So I'm going to keep the speed slow and steady. Slow and steady wins the race, just like the tortoise, right? Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Amen.
And the main thing I'm trying to pay attention to is right there, my temperature gauge, making sure we don't get too hot and making sure that kind of stays somewhat normal. I was watching a YouTube video on RVs going up into the mountain passes a while ago before we did this, because I just wanted to see if there's anything I'm forgetting, anything that the experts who have done this longer than I have can give me any words of wisdom. And they said that every engine has a sweet spot, and to try to find that sweet spot when you're climbing the mountains, most of them said that's around 25,000 or 2,500 RPMs. And so that's what I'm doing, is trying to keep it in that area and paying attention to my temperature gauge, which as of right now is starting to climb a little bit. I'm keeping my RPMs the same, speed limit's the same. Temperature gauge though has increased quite a bit. I'm not all the way on hot. I don't have any alarms or anything going off yet, and I believe we're almost to the top of the pass, and then it should be cooling off once we get up here. Start on the downward descent. That last little bit got me all the way into the red, so I am going to pull over, at least for now, and let us cool off a little bit. We only sit here for maybe, I don't know, 3-4 minutes, and the temperature's gone down quite a bit. We're almost to the very top. In fact, it is just right up there on the other side of those buildings. But there was a nice little pull out here, so I went ahead and made the decision to pull out, let it cool off. As soon as it clears up with traffic behind me, then I'm gonna get on the road again.
Look, guys. Can't see anything. Oh my goodness. Whoa. Isn't that beautiful?
If you've ever wondered what it sounds like in here when the kids have completely lost it and they've been in a vehicle all day, that's a little glimpse. I'd say that's like at 50% as far as volume level goes. Don't you agree?
Okay, as long as somebody's crying, I'm good.
This is exactly why we love traveling in the motorhome instead of the truck, because that's what it would sound like in the truck. Chaos. So this downhill descent is 6% grade, and it says vehicles over 26,000 pounds cannot get over 45 miles an hour. Right now I'm doing 40. It is in second gear, and I've got the exhaust brake on.
So you're not hitting the brake right now?
Nope. I'm not touching the brake at all. I do have a tight curve coming up.
You should, babe. I'm sorry, but please.
Yeah,
yes.
I just hit it.
No, I mean keep them down. I mean I feel like we need to slow down.
Yeah, I slowed down. So when I do hit the brakes, it is a quick, short burst. It's like I push it hard for like a second. I was almost 45 and it dropped me down to almost 35. And so that's one way of making sure that you don't burn your brakes up, is just do short, quick bursts like that. Don't hold your brakes, don't ride your brakes, don't do anything like that. We made it! We made it! We made it! We made it, Jason! We're here! Are you ready?